Even in government, the majority of economists, they don't have their hands on the giant, complex tillers of the economy. I know a few that do, and jolly good people they are too. But most of the things economists do, they don't even look like economics. Adoption policy, money laundering, detecting. The range of topics is absolutely truly astonishing, and I must capture that. But I'm going to just go through ones that we're perhaps all more familiar with, and I'll leave that to another day. But there's many applications that I think might be more immediate to personal experience, and perhaps more intrinsically interesting than just the economy. From Becker's early rewidening of mainstream economics, from Akerlof's Lemons, we now analyse auctions, sex and race discrimination, sport, what you can and cannot get on the NHS and why, the competition and quality of education, value in time and even life, happiness itself, inner city dynamics, passenger safety, marriage and divorce, very interesting keynote speech at the RES about who gets most, which partner gets most in marriage. I found that a very useful paper. Crime and drugs, social exclusion, tabloids writing nonsense about immigration. Does performance-related pay make people work harder? Are we taxed too much? Is competition always good? Do people gamble rationally on the lottery or on quiz shows on television? You can go on. What causes wars? Early literature on economics on that. Obesity, how to match kidneys, private returns to education. Why not sell economics on that? Economists do well. What's wrong with that? Then there's behavioural economics, engaging classroom experiments, it's voting behaviour, social mobility. Why are there so many junk media channels all the same? Why aren't there petrol stations in the centre of cities? Are cities green, as Tim will argue, Tim Harford? Just why are cities so astonishingly productive? What are the agglomeration effects of human beings huddled together? All legitimate areas of studies. I'm going to go on a little bit more to get the idea. Should we put folic acid in bread? We study that. Should nursery care be subsidised? Is Sure Start off to an unsure start? Of course, the climate, the welfare of future generations. Yes, all the stuff by Stephen Levitt. Do teachers and sumo wrestlers cheat? Did abortion reduce teenage crime? Do doctors pump up their earnings by performing unnecessary operations? Yes to two of these, I think. Economics, socionomics, bionomics, freakonomics, wickonomics, haponomics. Of course, no one wants, and forgive me, bolonomics. It wouldn't be attributed with this term, but we do worry about peer review and the quality of data as well. Not anything goes, I'm not saying that at all. But they're just a few of the more recent applications. In government, the range, yeah, that's parochial. In government, that's narrow. In government, these are just tips of whole new icebergs. And again, I must do a paper on this sometime. But I suspect, I don't know, there may be more things, more engaging for the A-level student than just the economy. But a major exam board suggests making the syllabus exciting by putting a European context in it. Okay. Can't it be even more exciting? Okay. And I think we overdo the positive normative distinction. I mean, many of the important things in economics are actually about value judgment. And Hume's point that you can't get an is from law is fairly trivial nowadays. As Nick Stern points out, value judgments are not actually arbitrary. Okay? Think about that. They can be analysed, they can be compared. The implications and the outcomes can be compared with sensitivity analysis. It's a legitimate area of study. Okay? You can't actually do practical appraisal without making value judgment, even if it's only on distributional weightings or the weightings of future generations. Why can't you discuss that? Why don't we worry about whether tastes are endogenous as much as we worry about the axiomatic properties of indifference curves? Okay? I'm sure people are interested in values. Why shouldn't they engage in the ideological positions? Historically, the ideological positions of monetarism, Austrian economics, etc., Marxism, they've had far more impact in the real world than attempts at value-free economics. Why can't those students discuss and form views and not merely be told, make way for the scientists? We're thinking maybe this threshold concept talking approach might provide an alternative structure, might provide interest and enthusiasm, to a greater number of students. But it's always dangerous for someone my age to speculate what the younger generation actually want. I don't know, I don't have direct evidence. But has it been thoroughly researched? Has the consumer demand for economics thoroughly been researched? If so, I've missed it. Please show me it. But is it only Stephen Levitt and of course Tim Harford who've done so much to explore that and popularise that huge new range of applications and try and find out what might attract greater numbers to economics? In other words, why the syllabus inertia? And I do hope it's not what is implied by this main reason to entice teachers to use their A-level syllabus. Okay, that would be sad if it's only that. Okay, I've spent too long. I've still got time. Alright, okay. On why economics may be underselling. I want to now talk about the GS and why we think some graduates fall short of perhaps what we'd like to see. Chairing a GES academic working group, which we hope to prepare some sort of statement for higher education. Academics from there as well, to give a better understanding of perhaps what we're looking for. And that, let's say, hopefully something will be published early in the year. But it's not going to be an attack on economics at all. I reiterate, the successful candidates we get are good. They're really, really good at economics. They do a very good job. And we unequivocally celebrate the success of economics as a social science and its power to contribute to good government, where government is good. And there's no criticism of technical economics as such, or research. It's just noted that it's actually a lot broader than that. And it's used on a day-to-day basis. So the starting point was the QAA benchmarks. What do we think of them? Well, actually, they're pretty good. They're good for the QAA. They're good for the GS. We have a few things, but the basic definitions here, pretty too many words on the slide, but abstract, simplify, analyse, reason, marshal evidence, communicate results, very important, think critically, draw economic policy inferences. All these things are absolutely great. A great succinct summary of what you do in government. Okay. You've only got to add cross-discipline working and understanding how to negotiate the policy process, and you're ready to start. We have a few suggestions of some nuances and things, more emphasis. I've run out of time, but I can come back to that if you want. But overall, yes, the benchmarks are good. So the next question is, do they actually describe the graduates we see? Well, the most salient point is sadly that although all our applicants have to have a 2-1 or better, most fail. Half from just above half to 2/3. Now, some people argue that's not surprising, but this is just on the economics. I'm only looking at the economics. We test other skills as well, but this is only the economics. So I'm going to look at just some crosstabs, and grateful to Peter Irwin here. We've released the anonymised data from the GES assessment process, and again I can talk about that if you wish. We think it's a pretty good process. These are just crosstabs. So we released the data to be transparent and open through a proper multivariate analysis. So Peter and Philip Hedges, Frank Boucher are doing a workshop that follows this presentation to look more into the results. Here's some of the crosstabs. That's about the assessment process. So here we are. Degree class seems to matter a bit. Okay, so most people pass, but even the first, large amount of failing. The 2-2 here is because you can't get in with the 2, so you have to get a master's. Seems to help, but then it's a small sample. But there's basic results. There seems to be some effective degree. University type. Well, the bad news, in a sense, bad news is, there's still a higher mark here, whatever. Interesting, though, to note that if you take the non-Russell, pre-92 universities and whatever, the pass rate there is not really significantly different from the new universities, although it's a smaller sample. But it does very much suggest that we could fruitfully recruit many more people if we could only get people in new universities to apply. But maybe they think the GS is some sort of snobbish thing. Some validation, but not completely. They are getting through. And I can actually tell you, we follow people from new universities, and why should we pick on them? But anyway, and once they're through, they're absolutely as good as everyone else, and really good. Okay. No, I'm not at all surprised. I don't sound surprised by it. But we have to come to a conclusion. And the conclusion is extremely simple. And perhaps it has its power because it's simple. So the academics and the government people working there, we think the majority fail because they do not understand fundamental principles, concepts and analysis. And hence they find them difficult to apply and easy to forget. An illustrative example of that, I'll do two, because I've run out of time, but is opportunity cost. We asked them about the opportunity cost of a bar of gold. Significantly, almost all of them can trot out a reasonable definition of opportunity cost. But if they had to pick up the asset part of it, most couldn't do it. The majority of those who could use the concept passed the assessment process. There's another one where almost all of them can say MC equals MR, profit maximisation. But we say, what about a monopolist with no cost, turnover spring? And then the majority are lost, which is worrying. It's as if they can write notes but can't read music. It's worrying. Okay. With various explanations, which I can't subscribe to in any way, because by my position I can't favour one, but I'll tell you what they are. Obviously, rapid expansion of student numbers. It's the government's fault, reduced unit of funding, quite so maybe. Large teaching about more heterogeneous students. The RAE, overwhelming and focusing, causing people to specialise to produce research papers, so they're unable then to produce more rounded economists that we need. We need rounded economists in the GM. Perhaps it's that few university lecturers actually have experience as a professional economist working. For a lot of academics, please don't take it personally, the main purpose of economics is to produce journal articles. Well, no, the main use of economics is to use it every day and use it to make the economy and the country run better. That's the main point. But we've got to be very humble. I must be humble. We've no right to tell educators how to teach at all. If I appear arrogant, I apologise, but there we go. And the appropriate policy for resourcing, thankfully, lies elsewhere today. So don't copy me on that. Perhaps courses simply try to cover too much. Perhaps this is not enough embedding of those fundamental concepts. Too much, perhaps, drilling in advanced techniques which achieve limited understanding. I think emphasising the basic fundamentals doesn't actually set anyone short. As Nicholas Stern was saying, because we habitually use those concepts, we forget just how powerful and how deep they are. And it's actually those simple things, as Samuel said, which mark us out. And it's those fundamental graphs which mark out the economics, good economists in all walks of life, academia, business, education, whatever. Some academics report that it's a brave lecturer who individually steps out of line and delves too deep into understanding. They say it may spoil the distribution of marks that the university is looking for, and where's the incentive to do that? So these all things. I don't think that's new. I don't actually recall the golden age. I remember Ken Benmore and his games were going on about the unwitting conspiracy that teachers pretend to teach and students pretend to learn. And he was saying that a long time ago. But I do hope that the GS will soon officially comment its advice, if you take it or leave it. But perhaps syllabuses could be more imaginative in conveying this intrinsic excitement of economics. And a sub-masters programme should concentrate much more on embedding deep understanding of the fundamental, rather than too wide a range of advanced techniques. And the threshold concept toolkit approach may, I don't know enough about it, but may, seems to me, may offer a way of tackling that. Or maybe, as the old Oxbridge entrance tests implied, any dullard can actually swat up on a bit of extra knowledge. But for knowledge to be useful, its application is required. But is such an eye for economics an innate ability? Is it the product of the right sort of experience as a student? Do you gain it from working as economists? Certainly you gain it from working as a professional economist, but it's clear also that the successful candidates have it in spades. Whether they got it from nature or nurture, no doubt a bit of both. Okay, so it's your challenge. If you're not going to accept my invitation to join the GS, then you're stuck with this incredible challenge, how to get as many people as possibly interested in economics and how to then turn them into good economists. We may be quite wrong, but again, the message from the GS already is that for non-postgraduate economics, we're pleased can you do more to try and embed the fundamental concepts, convey what it is like to work every day as perhaps a non-academic professional economist. It's very important. do justice to this vast new excitement of an extremely powerful, hugely wide-ranging and useful discipline.